as a part of my life experience that this would be a good thing to do because I love languages. I'm currently studying Portuguese. I'm fluent in Spanish. English is my native language, and I love sharing with people. And I do have one student that's there in Argentina, but and my other students I had to let go because I moved back to the United States for a little bit. So, but that's kind of my history. So.
Oh, well, that's great. Well, Selene is in Brazil. Are you in São Paulo?
Very close to São Paulo. Let me say hello to Ruth em português. Muito bem-vinda, que prazer em tê-la aqui. Os brasileiros adoram argentinos e adoram receber pessoas, sempre.
Que bom, que bom.
Okay. I need to work on my Portuguese skills, but I'm following you.
Yeah, So, yeah, we're just waiting a little bit more for comers, all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So.
oh, yes, Raquel is here. Wow, what an honor. Raquel is my master in the interpretation course.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So the more, the merrier.
Yes, exactly.
So, well, I'm in Buenos Aires. Here it's freezing today. It's really freezing.
Is it really? Oh, wow. I remember.
Yes.
That's freezing.
I bet.
Here it's very, very warm. Very warm.
Where are you in the U.S., Ruth?
I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, which is near to New York, right next to New York. But we're in the summer. Well, we're ending spring, going into summer, and so the temperatures, they kind of vary. But today and tomorrow are going to be very hot. So summer's coming.
Yeah.
I had the chance to spend one summer in New York. It was as hot as a blaze,
Exactly.
Very nice, but very nice. Raquel, would you like to say hello?
Hello, girls.
Raquel
Hi.
is the little drawing behind and inside the cabin. Raquel lives in a cabin.
That's true. Yes, I'm going to be here listening to you guys because I am in the middle of another activity, but I'm listening.
Yeah, I introduced you as my master, right? You're my master in interpretation course. So it's my honor to have my master here.
Let me show my face.
Hey, nice to meet you, Raquel.
Hello,
Hi, Raquel.
nice to meet
you.
I love your chair.
Oh, yes, the gamer chair. Oh,
It looks
this is
so techy.
Yes, it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that, let me show you something. You were talking about the booth. Just a minute.
All right. Oh, CabineSe. That's nice.
Yeah,
from
I turned booth into a verb. Cabine.
Yeah, why not?
Yes. So
Also
I'm preparing myself
joining
for tomorrow.
us,
Yeah.
Yvonne Sasso.
Hi,
Hello,
Hey.
Yvonne. Glad to have you here.
I'm in front of the fireplace because it's very cold here, you know.
I see.
Yes. Where are you?
I'm in Rio Grande do Sul.
Oh, the
A
south.
city called, yeah, very far from Great Sanders, where you are, you know.
Yeah, because I am in Sorocaba, a city close to São Paulo, 9 kilometers from São Paulo. Inês Our speaker is in Buenos Aires. Raquel is in Brasilia, and Ruth is in Pennsylvania.
Oh, we are international.
Yes, we have a variety of people today. I'm honored, and I'm
then-
freezing too. I'm far away, but I'm freezing too. We have that in common.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
guess we are waiting a couple of more minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because actually now it's 7:31 and the poster said 7:30, right? I am sure everybody is familiar with the Brazilian short delay, right?
Okay, we share that in Argentina. We are not punctual. I am punctual, but it's not a culture of punctuality. So Ruth can support my view, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
So well, it is like 7:30, can be like 7:45, 8. So we are relaxed about time. But in the meantime, let me ask you, have you heard of copywriting? Have you read anything, or is it the very first time that are you going to hear about this?
Well,
for me-
I have attended an vivo a training, you know,
Yes.
at the beginning of this year, I think it was, yeah. And then there was the place where I have heard about it the first time.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
It calls my attention because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm very worried about these things, you know.
About persuading people about your writing?
Copyright. About copyright, no, I don't write about copyright. If I use materials that are not
Okay,
public.
but
I don't
yes.
know if this is the subject that you are going to talk
no,
about.
it's not the same. One thing is copyright, and this is copywriting. They sound very similar, and it can be confusing. But of course, the legal part is something that copywriters have to care about, but it's not the specific topic I'm talking about. So this is copywriting, a specific writing technique that is connected to marketing and advertising. That's the summary of the topic. So to put it like in a nutshell, it's that. And the other thing is copyright.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yes, you're writing. That's great.
yeah, what we always fear and what people tell us about is you have to be careful because there may be copyrights. There may be copyrights. So for images, for sounds, for photographs and songs and this and that, if you want to create a post or if you want to create something and a story, and you must tell where that sound is coming from, which song that is. Once I had a kind of a message from Instagram. I think it was at the end of 2020, yes, during the pandemic. And I decided I was going to post a collection, video collection of all my learners and the things we did during that year. And I decided that I would use a song from Foo Fighters. Just a little bit of the I love the drums. I love their songs. So it was there for maybe less than 30 seconds. And I got a little message. You may be inflicting copyright by using that song. So it is scary. That's why, you know.
No, of course.
Right.
Yes, it's something to pay attention to, and it's something that is related to creation and writing and sharing your creations on the internet. Of course, the thing is that, well, you have to educate yourself about it. there's a lot to read about that because it's the whole legal aspect about authors' rights. It's super important. And yes, it is common that on social media you get those messages like you may be inflicting copyright, so you may edit that or credit that differently, or what. Sometimes you have to eliminate it. Yeah.
You cannot just, use Madonna. You cannot be as successful as Madonna. she needs our money. She really is someone who she will be short on her money if any of us succeed a little bit using her songs. There is Patricia. Would you like to introduce yourself, Patricia?
Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Hi, welcome aboard.
Thank you. I am translator and copywriter.
Oh,
great.
So, and we also, where are you talking from, Patricia?
Sorry, because I'm eating. I am Florianópolis.
Florianópolis, South is present. And how did you find about this talk, Patricia?
Someone put in a group.
Okay, great. It works.
It works.
There is also Aparecido Batista.
Hi, Aparecido.
Welcome, Aparecido. Would you like to tell us a little about yourself, where you are, where you're calling from?
Não serve da cabeça. Eu acho.
Excuse me. Aparecido, would you like to introduce yourself to us? Would you like to say something? Probably not.
Ai, meu Deus, o que eu fiz aqui?
Ivone, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself while you're trying to figure out what it is that you did, all right? So, I guess we can start, right?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so Inês is a friend I met in Buenos Aires, but before that, we became acquaintance through Instagram. And again, during this pandemic, everybody was trying to reach out to everybody else, and she accepted, and we started a conversation. And then finally, when I went there in 2019, yeah, that was before the pandemic. I went there before the pandemic. We met personally, and it was like easy and great conversation, because we, at that time, we were both ESL instructors. And then I realized that she started this copywriting course, and she started talking about that often. So I became curious and I invited her. She accepted, and today she's here to tell us great information about what exactly is copywriting. So, Ines, who are you? How did you become a copywriter?
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure. And I had a great time when we met. Back then in 2019, we were both curious about neural learning, in fact.
Exactly.
I remember we talked a lot about that, right? Okay, and now I'm in copywriting. So how did happen? I'm in Pieve. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I'm an ESL teacher who became a copywriter out of curiosity. I've always been super curious and I love technology. So some years ago, I discovered a different side of communication, and it started as a hobby. So I started working on freelance platforms, writing in English, and now it's my full-time job. And as Selene said, I developed this course so language professionals can reskill themselves, applying a lot of tools and skills they already have to a different context and a challenging context for us, that is marketing. Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's it.
That's it. Yeah. So you are curious about copywriting, I guess, and what's that?
Yes,
so I'm gonna.
What exactly? Yeah. Yes. What exactly is copyright?
Copywriting is the art of persuading people with words.
Really?
So,
it's
yes.
an art. It's an art.
It is. Yeah. At least in my humble opinion, it is an art. It has, of course, it has a more analytic or scientific side. We can say we have some formulas that we can apply, but there's a lot of art to it. So
it's not really something new, right?
No, it's not something new. I guess that you are seeing this word, you're coming across copywriting more frequently because we are going through a very intense digital transformation, and a lot of copywriters are needed. Or maybe you as a teacher of English or as a translator, you're curious or motivated about selling your products and services, and you discover that you need copywriting. Yes, or maybe you are thinking about releasing your website as a professional, and the words, for example, of your website are super important. And that requires a specific type of writing, which is not the writing that you may learn at the teacher training college. It's a completely different type of writing. Yes, so
it's a trend.
No, it's not a hot trend. It's something that that exists like for a lot of time. And as I told you, now you're seeing it more frequently because it is in high demand, but it's not something new. So do you have another question?
Sure,
Yes,
sure.
I do.
Yeah. How do we as ESL instructors or interpreters or translators, how do we apply copywriting in our everyday job? How can we apply that?
Okay, well, the first thing that comes to my mind is social media. Nowadays, we are, all of us, any professional has to be active on different social media channels. I see that there is an Instagram boom. So your social media posts need to be written in a specific way that catches the attention of the reader. So we have to generate a connection with our audience. We need to empathize with them. We have to be concise. We have to be clear. There are a lot of things that we need to take into account when we write our social media posts. because otherwise we won't connect with our audience. So you can apply copywriting to your CV, to your WhatsApp messages, to your emails, in order to be clearer, more persuasive. It gives you precision. For me, the most important thing is that it gives you precision and clarity to your text, because we, as teachers or translators, we come from a background that values verbose texts, elaborated long sentences, passive voice, a completely different style of writing. So copywriting is a challenge for us because we have to understand the economy of language, and we have to be, yes, we have to be, yes, the economy of language. We have to be smart enough to get the attention with very few words, and that's not easy. Yes.
Interesting when you compare that with the word economy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So we have to be brief and at the same time powerful. So that's a challenge. I think that as language professionals, I know more about teaching because it is what I studied. That's why I always take teaching as an example. I think that we have a lot of skills on our side. For example, we learned a lot about literature, and we understand plot and dramatic elements, and you can apply this to storytelling. We can apply this to certain copywriting aspects. And also, of course, we have been exposed to different formats, and copywriting has their own its own formats too. So we are familiarized. I mean, we know how to handle different formats. When we see one format, we have already developed the skill of imitating that when writing. So we have been in contact with writing. The thing is that copy is a different style because it's something very specific. And
yeah, well, I believe as instructors, right, we commonly have to help people to be able to develop their writing. And yes, then we face narratives or essay, right? When the ultimate goal of a C1 or C2 learner is to be able to develop essay. And so we know something about the format or the ideal format to a good essay. But then from essay to copywriting and using this economy, that is a trick. That is the trick in this thing.
It's a whole challenge. When I started writing, I remember that my texts were very formal, and I had to unlearn that in a way because, well, mostly the internet speaks more conversational language, and I remember struggling with that. So it's a whole process, but I think that language professionals can become copywriters fast if they are dedicated enough. As you said, for example, yes.
Do you believe it's easy for us? Because
yes, I believe it is easy because I went through this whole process quickly, so I think that other people can do it too. So the important thing is to learn as much marketing and advertising as you can, because that's the part that is new to you. And as you mentioned, essay or other formats, in copywriting you have different formats that you can learn too, because as you said, everything has a structure, like an introduction, a body, a conclusion. So you can learn and replicate that. And another thing that I think is interesting is that we can write in our native language and also in English. So there are a lot of working possibilities, you know.
What do you say would be the similarities and the differences with the other styles in writing?
I think that the main difference is that in copywriting, you cannot allow yourself to be fluffy. You have to go to a point.
Fluffy.
Fluffy, yes.
Right.
When I mean fluffiness, I mean you cannot use complicated words or repeat yourself. You have to be very precise and you have to go to a point and add value in every sentence that you write.
No
so
fluffiness.
I think no
fluffiness.
Also, well, passive voice is something that doesn't work. In general, you write in active voice because it generates a connection with the reader, and passive voice sounds more distant and impersonal, so we don't need that. And then, well, of course, according to the requirements of the project, you're going to adapt the vocabulary. But in general, as I told you, it tends to be more informal. Yes. And I think that's the main difference, formality.
So do you write in English?
At this moment, I'm writing in Spanish, but when I started working as a copywriter, I wrote in English, yes. And that's interesting too, because English is not my native language.
But do you believe that copywriting is more connected to marketing rather than connecting to creating fiction or something else? Why is there? Yeah, there's
I mean, copywriting is connected to marketing, advertising, and sales.
Yeah,
and at the same time,
the target audience.
Okay, the target audience. Well, first, I'm going to tell you what a target audience is. A target audience is a specific group of people you want to sell a product or service.
Great.
So that target audience is going to consume content from you that you have to write by putting yourself in the shoes of that reader. That's a super important element of copywriting. That is audience research. A great copywriter spends more time researching than writing. Because yes, in order to write something that catches the attention of the audience, something that is persuasive enough, you need to do a lot of research. And you need to know your audience. Yes?
Yeah, so it's better, or it's ideal that you have in mind exactly why you are writing and who you're writing for. And by doing this search, you understand exactly how this audience of yours can be connected to what you are expressing.
Yes, totally. We need to understand where our audience is and where we want to take them. Because even though copywriting is close to sales, not with every text you are looking to sell something. So sometimes you just want to inspire your audience or educate them or help them with a specific topic. So you have to take that into account to design a content strategy and develop texts that go like walking the reader by the hand in every step that they are taking.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep in mind that the word you said, persuasion, right?
Persuasion is, yes, like the word.
Yeah, you can be not just persuasion to buy something, all right, but also persuasion to engage into the content you want to show.
Totally. Yes, totally. It's not only about selling. It's also about clicking on a button, following a link, downloading a guide. If you start paying attention, the whole internet is filled with copywriting. Yes, because when you open your email, when you navigate social media,
right?
Sorry?
I'm sorry. Nothing is written by accident. Everything is like thought to catch.
And
Exactly.
ahead.
Yeah, totally. Everything has like a goal. And another thing that is very important is design and where are the different buttons or titles or paragraphs. So everything is well thought, as Patricia says. Yeah.
Okay. Never believe ever something that is there is just pure coincidence, right?
Yeah, no, nothing random out there.
And so, being this way, I believe you can say there are some styles in copywriting, right?
Some what? Some style?
Some styles. Maybe a more aggressive one or a moderate one. And that's what I mean. Is that?
Yes, the style depends on the different brands and their personalities, because each brand is supposed to have a unique and very distinctive personality. And according to that personality, you are going to develop different texts with different styles. So as you say, some people or some brands may sound more aggressive, some others don't. Yes. So that depends on the project.
Okay, right. Depends on the aim, the target, right? And why you are creating that community, because basically, right, it's a communication bridge.
Totally.
Right? Yeah, it's a communication.
Totally, because you're connecting a brand with an audience. And when I say a brand, I'm not talking about big companies. It could be a commercial brand or a personal brand. So exactly, if you are on Instagram under your name selling your language classes, you are a brand. Yes, I'm not talking only about commercial brands.
And that's why it is interesting to us.
Yeah.
Sorry,
totally.
Aparecido, go on.
Yeah, sorry. I have a question to the Pieve. Do you think creative translation and copywriting is quite linked?
I think it can you repeat, like transcriptive
translation
and copywriting.
I never heard of that.
Transcreation.
Translation. They use a lot of in the marketing.
And could you summarize what transcreation is? Because I'm not sure if I'm familiarized with that concept.
When you have a text in marketing, for example, they send you the text and ask you for modifying the text to how can I say that, to I'm sorry, I'm trying to.
If you want to ask in Portuguese and this word, you can try to help.
Yeah. Tentando ganhar a pessoa, tentando ganhar a consciência dela.
Try to win the person, exactly. Maybe in English you say, if someone buys what you were saying, someone is convinced that what you were saying is
the right
so
word.
I think it is trying to try to sell, exactly. Basically, you could say, try to convince someone and have someone buy your idea.
Of course, I mean, copywriting is closely connected to convincing, yes, and persuading.
Convincing, persuading.
Yes, totally.
Transcreation, that's a new word too.
I don't know if I'm answering your question.
That's okay. But another question: the copywriting is totally linked to marketing, or there are other areas in which copywriting can be used?
Yes, it is connected to marketing, advertising, sales. Yeah. And apart from digital, you have copywriting in print. It's not something exclusive from the digital world.
Okay, thank you.
Do you believe, Inês, that at the beginning of this, as an expertise, as a skill, the origins of copywriting are back to when someone is trying to sell hamburgers or sell drinks? And for instance, when one is enjoy Coke, is that an example of copywriting?
Yes, totally. Yes, you find.
I found that
you find thousands of examples of copywriting in advertisements, and also, well, as you said, in print. Because when you mention certain brands, I think print. That print, of course, came before digital. Totally. Yes, totally. And do you have any other question?
You can use only words in a literal sense, or you can use image to convince the audience, as you said.
You can use images and metaphors, totally. Of course, you have to make sure that your audience is going to resonate with that, because at some point it's advisable to be more literal and more direct, but yes, metaphors will work. As I was saying, it depends on the objective of the project, the brand, because it's not the same to sell services than to sell products. It's not the same if you're talking B2C or B2B. B2C means business to consumer, like general products or services, and B2B means business to business. So when we write B2B, we are talking about companies that sell products or services to other companies and not to a general public. So all of those aspects affect the choice of words I'm going to make, you know?
So is there a chance that if I define my target audience to be teachers, right? To be people that are trying to transition from one career to another. For example, I believe, I'm assuming that Ruth and maybe Patricia have had other career before, and now their current way of living is different from what it was before. So in that kind of situation, the people who are transitioning, what are the tips? What are the suggestions you can give us so that we open this door into being our own, being entrepreneurs of ourselves? There are lots of videos we get now on the internet advising teachers to become self-brand themselves, right?
Okay.
And what are the things we can use? What are some of the tips for people in this situation, transitioning careers?
Well, what you say is very interesting, because there are a lot of people who want to keep the same job, like teaching or translating, and they just want to open digital channels to reach more people, or they want to automatize something like a course or an ebook to sell, but they are not going to change career completely. And on the other hand, there are people who want to change career, they want to shift. So in both cases, my first tip is that you invest in yourself, because you can take a lot of free courses and read a lot. I found a lot of useful and super valuable information for free, but at one point I started paying for training, and that makes a difference. Also, I think you should invest in your website. Having a website, a professional website, distinguishes yourself from the competition, and also gives a message that you are taking this seriously, whether it is starting to work as a copywriter or selling your course or whatever you're doing. Also, to study marketing as much as you can. There's a lot to be done. Also, I think you should take it easy and learn to rest. This is very important. You have to, I think that you should have a hobby or two and have the capacity to totally get away from everything and take rest, your rest, and then go back to information to avoid burnout. And well, I told you, invest in digital tools and learn about new technologies. Yes, for example, I learned WordPress, and some years ago I started a blog, and that was new to me. I've never used WordPress before. So, and also you should work on your personal brand. So you should put yourself out there, even though you're new, even though you feel insecure about things. You should record videos and start talking to people, network, put yourself out there, like update your LinkedIn profile. And of course, if you wanna try copywriting as a job, create an account on freelance platforms and start working, start taking projects, small projects, to see if you like it, because it's the only way to know. Start writing and start taking it seriously. Yes.
So are there platforms available that you can sign in or subscribe to newsletters? Your blog, what is your blog, by the way?
Sorry?
You will still write on your blog? You will continue that?
Yes, nowadays,
that?
yeah, currently I don't have a blog, but I used to write when I launched my website as a copywriter. I wrote some articles about different topics, but mostly about my story, because that's something important. Our story and our background is unique. It's the thing that distinguishes you from the rest. So it's important to tell your story, because it is obvious to you, or it may be boring to you, but not for the others. So you should tell your own story. And also I wrote about copywriting in social media. I wrote some reflections about the pandemic. So it was a mixture of topics that I am interested about.
So basically, you were exposing yourself from the heart, right? But it was a way to transform those feelings and sensations into coherent writing and into something that would appeal others. Very interesting way to tell that. Very nice. It in a sense is also a little bit of healing, right?
Yeah, there's something healing to writing. Totally,
There is
I agree.
meaning to writing.
Yes, yes, totally. So that's another thing that you can do. I totally encourage you to start a blog. You have to know that it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. So starting a blog, it's another thing that I recommend. Because as I told you at the beginning, you can start reading. There are a lot of freelance writers offering information for beginners and for free. But then at one point, you need to start unlocking certain knowledge and pay for different trainings. I read a lot, but I also took a lot of courses. But it's great because I did it through the internet. I didn't get a formal degree in marketing at university. I got different certifications and everything was possible because I had a computer, an internet connection, and curiosity, and that was it. So I think that that's something that we have to value today, that we have a whole world just one click away.
True, you know, look at the magic of this moment we're sharing, right? How on earth would I ever make sure that I would meet Ruth, Patricia, and Parecido, right, or Raquel? And that is, many things are said against social media, and many things are said against this this diving that people go into social media. I agree, it can be very exhausting, right? But if you are able to cut through the chase and then aim at the things that are really important to you, so little by little you will create this large amount of information, right? And that information starts to make sense, and you can create and organize in your mind how you're going to put that into effect.
Totally, it's a chance
to believing in that.
Yes, sorry, it's a chance to design and create a unique path, because you went to university, you got your degree or your degrees, and that's okay. I'm not against the academics, but things are changing super fast, and we have to adapt, and there is certain knowledge that hasn't arrived at the university yet. So I think that the internet is like the place to learn, especially something like copywriting. Maybe for other areas, no, but so I think that that's the most interesting part, that you can design a very unique path.
The journey. It's a journey worth taking.
Totally, it's a journey. So because we all have different backgrounds and degrees and life and work experiences. And I think, as you said, writing is healing, and also writing is something that integrates different areas, because as a teacher, you can write about learning methodologies, you can write about your reflections about culture. So writing is always an integrative skill. I think that's interesting too. I think that everybody has a story to tell.
Exactly. And go ahead.
Have you any tips to give us about any international agency for applying copywriting jobs?
Well, if you are a beginner, you should, in my opinion, you should start on Upwork, because on Upwork there are a lot of projects, and it's an interesting place to start, and you are gonna get jobs in English and in Spanish, or in your case in Portuguese. Yes, so Upwork is for me a great place to start. And also you should have your LinkedIn updated and look for jobs there too.
Upwork. Is that a platform? Is that
Yes, it is a freelance marketplace. Yes, it is a platform to get jobs, to get freelance jobs. Yeah. So you create a profile and you start taking projects, and you get paid, everything like in the same place. And also you have like translation jobs, voiceovers, well, different digital jobs. It's not something specific about copywriting, you know?
Yes, I know Upwork.
Okay.
it is
great,
certainly
so-
something that wasn't there, let's say 5 to 10 years ago. It wasn't
Yes, it
there.
was. Yes, it was. It was created in 1998 with another name, but it's not a new platform.
Okay.
No, it was, in fact, I think that it was the first freelance marketplace. And after that, others came out, but yeah, it's not something new. Another thing, which is the obvious, because we are talking about copywriting and platforms and clients, another thing that is magical for me is that you can just any day, you can sit down and write. So sometimes we forget that, but if you sit down and write, it's another tool that helps you know yourself as a writer, because as I told you before, sometimes we have a certain idea of what things are, but then when we actually do the job, we find differences. We may find that we don't like it, or we may find that we love it. So you have to sit down and write and see what happens there. You have to face the blank page and stop thinking about, well, I'm not prepared enough, or I didn't study this, I didn't study that. So you have to forget about those voices and pick a topic you love and sit down and write. Yeah.
Okay.
How many years are you writing?
Sorry?
How many years are you
Professionally, 4 years, professionally 4 years, but I have written my whole life. I just didn't know that copywriting existed and the whole world behind that, but yeah, 4 years.
So when you see yourself now through those 4 years, and you go back and you talk to the Inês before those 4 years, what do you tell her? How much and how large is the possibilities that she found?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So you're asking me what I would say to my
yourself,
past self?
Yeah, to your past self, you know, how much you have grown, you know, how worth it was to really embrace in the process. Because let's say that maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you had this curiosity, as you put, right? You had this internal motivation to sit down and write down the things that were inside of you want to share. So what is the progress, right? How much experience have you gained already? You certainly have.
Yeah, it's been a ride. It's a lot. I would say I would tell myself to keep writing and persevering you know, because
Persevere.
it's been a lot of work. I love it, but it's been a lot of work. Because as I told you, it's not only about writing, it's about editing, it's about reading. But yeah, I would tell myself to keep pushing.
Keep pushing, keep pushing.
Yeah.
Very much so. Besides healing, besides being something that we all can do, right? It's also demanding that we show more effort, right? There is discipline. How much discipline is there?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot. But well, I think that when you truly like something, you do it differently. I mean, you don't feel a weight. I mean, you are tired and all, but you are motivated, so it flows naturally, even though you are tired or even though there are setbacks in the middle of the road, you don't mind because you're passionate about what you're doing. So I think that everybody should be able to find that, even though it's not writing, right? So maybe it's another thing, but I think that everybody should be able to look inside and be honest and say, well, I want to do this, so I'm gonna try and see what happens.
Yeah, and then how do we turn off that little negative voice that says, oh, come on, now stop that, you're wasting your time? How do we turn off that little bad voice?
That's an interesting question.
No.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because everybody has their voice.
Their
I
little
think,
voice.
well, this is something, this is my personal opinion, but for example, meditation has helped me a lot. But I think that everybody should find their own thing to quiet that voice, you know?
Quiet this voice. Yes.
Or to ignore it. So, I don't know, some people paint, others play an instrument, I don't know. So, you have to learn to believe in yourself. That's it. You have to be able to learn from mistakes and to be self-confident. Because you're gonna make mistakes, but the important thing is to learn from them quickly and move forward.
Yeah, so there is a lot of humbleness there, right? Because who says that you need to do things perfect the first time you try? Nobody says that.
Nobody
says that. But we
and especially,
tend to believe that.
Yes, totally. And especially if you are new to a profession, you are entering a totally unknown world, something that before you have never heard about or you don't know about. So it's logical that you're gonna make mistakes and you're going to ignore things just because you're new. So yes, I think that you have to believe a lot, as you said, you have to believe in yourself and to keep your mind open. Any other question?
I believe Ruth wants to say something.
Well, this is kind of a very, I'll say a different and new topic for me. I have certain things that, for example, people have said to me, oh, Ruth, you should write a book, or Ruth, you should do this, or Ruth, you should do that. And so I guess I'm just trying to explore ideas and things. And this is the reason why I wanted to take advantage of today's meeting and the meeting on Saturday, just to kind of see if I can be inspired to do something, to move in a direction. I do, thank God, have time to do things, to develop, and that's the reason why I had taken Portuguese lessons, and now I'm in different Portuguese little groups and building my Portuguese skills. I already have my Spanish skills, and of course, English is my first language. But this is interesting because someone else had said to me to do YouTube videos about whatever, you know, having to do with language or this. So I enjoy listening to this because it's kind of inspiring me to just kind of take a look at me, you know, and just say, first of all, what is it that I want to do with writing, if anything, and what direction to go in. I could go in many directions with that. But I had never heard of copywriting in this sense. I had heard about it in the other sense, in the legal sense of don't plagiarize other people's work.
Okay,
But,
like the copyright sense.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. And at Upwork, I had heard about Upwork, and also I had applied to Upwork, and then I veered off because of Portuguese, doing the Portuguese, and I was in a course. So I was taking the course after course after course. I need the time to focus and concentrate.
Totally,
But,
yes.
I like the idea about kind of investing in yourself, and to see, you know, what possibilities there are. So
Totally. I think that the magical thing that copywriting has is that you can work as a copywriter, but if you don't, you can communicate better, like in your everyday life, not only in business.
Yes.
And that's great because you learn to take care of words, and words are things that we take for granted. So that's a challenge. And well, I think that's always useful to pack some communication skills. And as you said, well, I was listening to you and you said that people told you do this, you should do that. But anything that you start, any project, it's a lot of work, like writing a book or opening a YouTube channel. So I think you should set some priorities and ask yourself, like, well, what do I want to do? Yes, that's like not just going with multiple projects. That's something that is super common nowadays. It happened to me, and I think it happened to all people. Like, you want to do a lot of things and you want to do it well, and that's impossible. You just have to narrow it down and focus on one thing.
And build thing, go deep into one thing, right?
Yeah, and that can take like years before you realize or before you accept that, well, I'm gonna do this. You cannot start a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, especially if you are if you have a full-time job and you do that on the side. Maybe if you have the whole time in the world, well, that's another thing. But I hope you find your way, and I hope this helps you, Ruth.
Yes, I'm sure I will find my way, and this is helping.
That's great.
I'm very happy to hear that, because I myself, I have started on Instagram and started YouTube channel, and I have one idea here or another idea there, and then inviting people, and my guests who have accepted the invitation, and it makes me feel very happy that I'm able to share that feeling with people like you. It's great to hear that, Ruth, that out of nowhere, you know, you decide you click on a link. Yes, you believe that, and you embrace, and you always find great ways to learn from other people, to listen to them, and then you quiet your heart, and you are able to encounter many things in common.
Yes.
Right. And so it helps us not to feel so lost in all this hustle, which is the internet.
Yes.
Totally.
I'm very happy to have you guys here. And Renata, you have joined at the end. Would you like to ask something or to say something? Renata Lara. Oh, and then
Hello, good
Hey.
evening. Thank you for asking me, but I want to just listen you, and I am enjoying. It's very oh my God.
no problem, no problem. Say the way you want to say.
Real, it's real life. It's I agree with all things that you said until now.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
Well, thank you
Where are
for
you calling
listening.
from, Renata?
Sorocaba.
All right, someone from Sorocaba. Thank you. We also have Cecilia. Oh, but it seems she's gone. I was gonna ask you, Cecilia.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I invited her, and well, she was here 1 minute ago, but
Yeah.
I think she'll come back.
It's one of those things, you never know what really happened. Maybe it's a connection problem or something.
Yeah.
Should we take a picture?
Sure.
And I really invite you guys to follow Inês and follow me on Instagram. All right, it's an easy way to find us. Friends.
Yes, I will.
Yes, there you are. Inês has.
I wrote my Instagram on
Exactly,
the chat,
please.
so we can.
And if we want to reach Ruth and Patricia, what do we do? How do
You
we
have
find?
a LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Sorry?
LinkedIn profile. Patricia said he found us through LinkedIn profile. Yes?
Yes.
Cecilia is returning.
There's my LinkedIn, so we can connect there.
Okay.
Here's Cecilia.
Cecilia.
Hi, Cecilia.
Hello, Cecilia. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Same to you.
Cecilia, where are you calling from?
I'm from a city in Buenos Aires, Balcarce.
All right.
Great.
Someone from there. I am from
Someone from Buenos Aires too.
Yeah. I'm from Sorocaba, São Paulo, Brazil. Ruth is in the US. Patricia is, I'm sorry, Patricia, I forgot.
Pennsylvania.
No, Ruth is in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Patricia.
Sorry.
Florianópolis.
Florianópolis, that's it. Aparecido, you are from?
I just connected in LinkedIn, okay? Ines?
Yes.
Ines.
Ines.
Great.
And Renata from Sorocaba. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. Let's see if anybody has any other question you would like to ask.
Sorry, before that, we should take another picture with Cecilia
Another
here.
Oh, yes, sure, another picture. Yes.
Smile.
I'll.
Thank you. So yes, do you have another question?
I don't have a question. I just want to share that I think sharing experiences is the best way to to learn nowadays. We can get like motivated in a real path. So thank you. It was very inspired. And thanks for Selene. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
Patricia. Thank you. Thank you so much. So again, I'm recording this video. I will upload that to my channel, and maybe Inez will take parts of it and also use this in her blog. And let's see how this experience will become palpable in some writing from any of us, right? Even if you have a journal, right? And the way you add this to your journal, that's already interesting.
Yeah, I love journals. I'm totally a journal person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't mention this but I think it's important. We are in a highly digitalized world, but handwriting is an art tip that I give you. So don't give up on handwriting. So don't write everything on screens. Just take a pen and paper and write. So it feels totally different. Your brain works differently. You improve your memory, you improve your attention. It's a completely different process. So
neuroscientists
don't forget that.
say that writing is the final cortex impulse or effort, right? Because originally you have a thought. That thought may go into an oral explanation and a statement, and then you reflect upon that. And by the time you're going to register that permanently, you are even using your coordination, motor coordination. So synapses that are created in this instant are a lot stronger.
Totally.
It's exactly what you said. Register writing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you both.
It was a pleasure to be with you all.
Yeah, it's been super nice to be talking here. And I'm happy because you feel inspired and motivated.
Certainly.
Even though you don't end up working as a copywriter, I feel that my work is done if I have inspired you.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You certainly do. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all. Thank you.